ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण. So welcome to this series of Pāṇiniya Vyākaraṇam. So in this couple of videos I will be discussing about different Pāṇiniya Vyākaraṇa sūtras, and to understand these sessions, the prerequisite is that you must first understand the Sanskrit terms, and also you must understand the basic structure of Pāṇiniya sūtras, and a bit of Sanskrit grammar also you should know. Then only you will be able to understand these videos, because it will be a bit advanced, because I will be directly discussing the Pāṇiniya sutras rather than discussing the structure of it. So be clear on it. Please first be eligible with the prerequisites, then only you will be able to understand these classes. So let's start the class. I'll be sharing a PDF from where we can learn it actually. So in this class we will start with the first sutra of Paribhāṣā Prakaraṇam in Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. So Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi is compiled by His Grace Varadarajaचार्यजी. So what he did actually is that whatever sutras were there in Aṣṭādhyāyī, they were in sutra kramaha. So he has just put them into a condition, into a sthiti where we can understand it step by step. Means we will not be able to get exact sutras line by line, but they will be hither and thither, like number 1 may come after number 2, but that is done only because of our understanding, so that we can understand easily. So that is Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. So we are gonna discuss from that book. Okay. So our first sutra in Paribhāṣā Prakaraṇam is 1.1.46. So this is our first sutra in Paribhāṣā Prakaraṇam. So first we will understand what means Paribhāṣā. So in normal language also, in Hindi also, we can see that Paribhāṣā means some definition to a particular thing. So here also Paribhāṣā means that a definition to a vidhi which is happening. So in Pāṇinian grammar we can see that a lakshanam is there and a lakshya is there. So when the lakshanam is happening to a lakshya, it becomes a vidhi that we understand. So when the lakshanam happens to the lakshya, a question comes that how and where does it happen, and again when does it happen. That also sometimes a question comes. So we can see that in Pāṇinian grammar, Pāṇini just writes that this lakshanam must happen to this lakshya, but he doesn't write that where should it happen. Sometimes he doesn't write. So to address that particular thing, to address that where should it happen, when should it happen, Paribhāṣā sūtras are created. So the first Paribhāṣā sutra is Adyantau Takita. We are going to see the examples also. A couple of examples are also there. So 2 examples we are going to see. So first sutra is Adyantau Takitau. The sutrartha is Tit Agama becomes Adi Avayava, while Kit Agama becomes Anta Avayava of the entity to which the Agama is enjoined. So Tit Agama, Kit Agama. So first we have to understand that the Tit Agama means that Takaraha it yasya saha becomes tit. Okay, Takaraha it yas Takaraha it yasya saha tit. There Shashti Bahuvrihi Samasa is there. That means tit means the takara where it is happening. Takara is there. Takara means all we know, takara. Then it is happening. How it happens? So for that Pāṇini has created a couple of sutras like Upadeshe Janunasika it, or like Halantyam, etc. By those sutras it happens, and when that it happens to Takara, then that Agama, not Adesha. Difference between Agama and Adesha is that Adesha is replacement of a particular thing, but Agama just comes in that particular thing. It does not replace it. It comes in that particular thing. That particular samskara is happening there. The particular thing is there. It is not replaced by anything, but extra thing is coming onto that. That is Agama. So when Tit Agama happens, it becomes the Adi Avayava. Avayava means part. So here you can see in the diagram that when Tit Agama is happening, then it becomes the first part of the particular thing. Something is there and Tit Agama has to come onto this. Okay, something is there written. Now Pāṇini says that Tit Agama must come here, like Adagama must come here. So in Adagama we can see Takaras it Karanam happens, then after that becomes Tit. So according to the sutra, when Adagama happens, it should come at the first place, at the first part of this Shabda. And similarly, when it becomes Kit Agam means Kakaraha ityasya saha. Similarly, means, exactly like the tit only it works. Like Kakara, when it Karanam happens, to the kakara, then it becomes anta avayava. Like if kugagama, mugagama, etc. is happening to a particular shabda, then it must come at the end of that particular shabda. Tit must come at the first and kit must come at the end. Okay. So we will see the adhikara, etc., adhikara, anuvritti, etc. Then we will move to the next shloka, next sutra, sorry. So here I will just read here. Adi antau takitau. Two words in the sutra, no anuvritti is required. Here no anuvritti is required, okay. Adi antau. Adi cha antaha cha adyantau. Which samasa is here? There is itaretara yoga dvandva samasa. Then takitau. Taha cha kacha takau. Takau itau yayoho tau. Takitau. Here dvandva garbha bahuvrihi samasa is there. Then here tit kitau yasya uktau tasya kramat adi anta avayavau staha. This is padayojana, for which entity tit and kit agama are enjoined. They become the beginning part. They become the beginning part and ending part respectively of that entity. Okay, entity. So again here, for clear understanding, it's again specified that when tit agama happens, when some agama happens where the takara is happening it, okay, when some agama is happening and in that agama takara is getting it, so such agama must come at the first part. And when an agama is coming to a particular pada and in that agama kakara is getting it karanam, so such agama must come at the end of that pada. Okay, so the word kramat came from 1.3.10 yatha sankhya manudesha samanam. Example of tit 6.4.71 lung lang ring kshvadudattaha. So here we can see lung lang ring kshvadudattaha. In Aṣṭādhyāyī.com we are going to see that. Here. So here, in the case of the lung lakara, lang lakara and ring lakara, the anga gets an at agama which is also udatta. Okay, at agama it gets. Here we can see that in lung, lang and ring, at is happening, at agama is happening. Okay, so because at agama is happening, so in this particular at, what happens is, when at happens, here we can see, let's see, lung is there. In this lung, at must happen. Here it is written at must happen to this lung. So now question comes, where should it happen? Should it happen here? Should it happen here? Or should it happen in the middle? So by the Prakrita Sutra, which is Adyantau Takitau, we can see that because the takara of this particular at agam gets it by the sutra halantyam. Because the takara is getting it by the sutra halantyam, it becomes tit. And if it's tit, then where should it happen? It should happen at the first part of the shabda, of the pada, which is lung. So we can understand from this that this at is happening at the first part. Okay. So once we will read this, at which is tit is enjoined to anga, where lung etc. are suffixed. The position of agam at is decided to be the beginning of anga by this Paribhāṣā Sutra 1.1.46 Adyantau Takitau, resulting in abhuta, abhavat, abhavishyat. So these are the rupas after the prakriya of adagama. Then other examples also we can see that dhut by dahasi dhut, then it by ardhatu kasyed baladehe ityadihi. So whenever this dhut, it, ghut, sut, nut, these agama happen, then it must happen at the first part of the anga, okay, of the pada. It must happen at the first part of the pada because the takara, this takara is there, the it happens to that takara. That's why they must happen at the first part of any anga which is going to get the agama, okay. And now we can see the examples of kit also, like tukagama. Then here tukagama is only there, then kukagama, mugagama, tukagama, etc. will happen at the end. Shabda is there. Now if it was tit, then it would happen at the first. Now it is kit. So kit like mugagama, muk is there. So in the muk, the end is kakara. It happens to that kakara by halantyam. Then tasya lopa lopa happens. Then because that is kakara it yasya saha kit, that's why that happens at the end, because it happened to the kakara, okay. If tit happens, then at the first. If kit happens, then it is at the last. Clear? Okay, so the next sutra is Midachontyat paraha. Mit agama is placed after the last vowel of the entity to which the agama is enjoined. So here we can see that when the mit agam happens, it happens at the last, after the last vowel of the entity to which the agama is enjoined. So some pada is there. This is some pada, okay. So when the pada is there, ach varna is there. Several ach varna is there. Here also ach is there, here also ach is there, here also ach is there. But it is said that when the last ach, okay, after the last ach varna means swaravyanjan. Swaravyanjan, no, swaravarna. Okay, ach means what? Swaraha. Ach means swaraha. A, I, U, ityadihi. So, when in a pad, last ach is there. Several ach are there in the first, in the middle, etc. But when the last ach is there, after that last ach, mit agam will happen. Mit agam is simple to understand. Mit agam means that agam where the makara is getting it. Similarly, same to same like tit, kit, etc. An agam where takara is getting it is becoming tit. An agam where kakara is getting it is becoming kit. An agam where makara is becoming it is called as mit. So when mit agam is happening in a particular pada, it must happen after the last ach of that pada. So we are going to see the examples. First we are reading the Vyakhya. Mit achaha antyat paraha. 4 words in the sutra, no anuvritti is required. Mit ma it yasya saha mit. Okay. So here it's written sixth bahuvrihi, shashti bahuvrihi samasaha. Achaha pratyaharaha ach in nirdharane shashti in ekavachanam to express jati, the class of ach among all the vowels. Antyat 5 1 ante bhavah antyah, the last one. Tasmat in the yoge panchami to paraha. Paraha samanadikarana to mit agam, connecting all the words. Mit is after the last vowel among the all vowels. So here again the book is specifying that mit agam should be the end part after the vowel, which is the last among all the vowels. So here a little bit of concentration is required, because here we can see that the specification is happening. At the last sutra we saw that the tit agam becomes adi avayava and the kit agam becomes antayava. Simply they have written like that, that the tit becomes the adi avayava and the kit becomes the anta avayava. But in this sutra, midachontiyat paraha, they are specifying the thing. What are they specifying? They are specifying that the mit agam must happen after the last achvarna. After the last achvarna. They are not saying that it must happen at the last part only. It may also happen that after the last achvarna, some hal varna is there. So mit agam will happen before the hal varna and after the achvarna. If it was kit agam, then it would be after all the varnas. Means we can simply say after all the al varnas, after the last al varna. Means ach is also included, hal is also included. But here we can see that when mit agama happens, okay, mit agama is happening, then only after the last ach it must happen. It may also happen before the last hal, or it may also happen that a word is there, only one ach is there, okay, only one ach varna is there, and it is only the first and last varna of the whole word, only one ach varna is there. So after that only mit agam is happening. Many hal varnas can be after that or before that. Hal varnas don't matter. Only the ach varna, okay, ach varna, last ach varna. After the last ach varna, mit agam must there. So we are going to see the example. So example of mit agama. Idito num dhatu. In this sutra, idito, the verb roots that have ikara as its sangyak get a numagam. So numagam is there. So we have learned in the last sutra that when like this numagam, kugagam or nudagam, like this happens, when the last varna is the victim, is the culprit, we can say like here numagama, the last varna is makara, and we are discussing about makara it yasya saha. So when the last varna is there, we can give it it karanam by the sutra halantyam. I am drawing through mouse, so please don't mind the handwriting here. So halantyam, okay. By halantyam, what becomes? The makara in this particular numagama becomes it. What it becomes? It becomes. Because it is becoming it, we can call the agama as mit. Because the makara is becoming it, we can call the whole thing as myth, myth. Okay, and because it is myth, it must happen after, it must happen after the last ach. Last ach. Ach. Okay. So what is the last ach here? Idito num dhatu. Ikaranta dhatu is there. Nadi. Okay. Nadi is idita dhatu. Idita dhatu is where E is getting it. And the last varna is it. Okay. Sorry. E is there. The verb roots that have vikara as its sanya get in numagam. So first we understand that idito num dhatu targets at that particular thing when the vowel E gets it samyak. Okay. When the vowel E is getting it karanam. So here in this particular thing, nadi. Nadi, what happens is, this E is there, no? It gets it by a sutra which is Upadeshe Janunasika it. So by this sutra, E gets what it gets? It gets. Because it is getting it by the sutra iditonum dhatuho, it gets a numagam. Because E is getting it in nadi by the sutra iditonum dhatuho, it gets a numagam. And because numagam is myth, it must happen after the last ajvarna. What is the last ajvarna in nadi? What is the last ajvarna in nadi? Last ajvarna is ikara. Okay. Ikara is the last ajvarna. Let's, here it is there. Oh, sorry, here it is not there. Na plus a plus the plus E. There are two ajvarnas. Here one ajvarna, here one ajvarna. So this is the first ajvarna, this is the last ajvarna. Because this is the last ajvarna, according to the Midachontyaatparaha rule, num must happen after this thing. Okay. Num must happen after the ikara. So how does it become? If it becomes after the ikara, here it is written, na is placed after the last vowel among the content of dhatu na plus a plus the. Okay. When nadi is there, E becomes it. So because it becomes it, by tasya lopa happens, then only this remains. Na plus a plus the. And because only these remain, the num, in the num also only the nakara is avashishta, because the makara is deleted by tasya lopaha. So where does it get? It must get after the last ajvarna, which is a. Okay. Before it was, the last ajvarna was ikara. So it would get after ikara, but because the ikara is deleted now by tasya lopaha, the last ajvarna is a, so num must happen, means nakara must happen after the akara. Which means if the nakara happens after the akara, then this will be the situation. Na plus a plus na, the numna. Okay. The na of the num. Then the. Like this the word will be there. So by this word, many results may come like Nandati, Nandini, etc. So this will be the situation after the mit agama. Again, I will repeat the whole process in a nutshell. So what happens? Nadi is there. Nadi is there. By iditonum dhatoho, the E of the Nadi gets it. Because it gets it, only Nad is remaining. And when the numagam happens, numagam means ma is it, means numagam means mit. Okay, when the mit happens, when numagam is happening, it must happen after the last vowel. The last vowel is akara. So after the akara, num must happen. So like this, then like this. Last achvarna is a. After this last achvarna, na is happening, num is happening. So na, then the. Okay, then it becomes nanda. Clear? Let's move on to next sutra. So this will be our last sutra for this class. So here, uran raparaha, an in the place of rivarna or livarna should become rapara, that which is followed by ra or l respectively. And in the place of rivarna or livarna should become rapar, which is followed by ra or la. In Aṣṭādhyāyī we will see. Okay. So a sutra comes which is ad gunaha. You may know that sutra because that's very famous. Ad gunaha. Okay. Ad gunaha is a sutra. By that sutra, what happens is, by that sutra we will read the sutrartha in Sanskrit. Ad. This is the sutra. When an avarna is followed by an ach letter in the context of samhita, both of them are replaced by a single guna letter. So here adesha is happening. Avarnat paraha yah ach achicha purvo yah varnaha tayoho purva parayoho avarna achoho sthana ekaha guna adesho bhavati. So like here we can see the example, like Devendraha, like here Devendraha. So in this example, what is happening? Deva Indraha. Deva Indraha is there. So here by ad gunaha, it is said that after akara at the last, please listen carefully, after akara at the last, if ach varna, no sorry, not ach varna, if guna varna is there, no, not guna varna, it's written that after the last akara, if in the paratra ach varna is there, then what happens? In the purva para, means in the akara also and in the paratra ach varna also, in both of them one guna letter is replaced, like that. Okay, so in both of this ikara and here akara is there. So in the akara, in the place of both of them, a guna letter will be replaced. Guna letter will be replaced. So when the guna letter is replaced, then it becomes Devendraha. So we will not discuss this vividly because that's not the Vishaya of our class today. So when Devendraha becomes, okay. So one more example of this Ad Gunaha is Krishnardhihi. So we will see in that page, Krishnardhihi. Krishnardhihi. Okay, Krishnardhihi. If we do the Sandhi Vichcheda of this thing, then it becomes Krishna plus Riddhihi. Krishna plus Riddhihi, Krishnardhihi. Now, here in this place, according to the Adguna Sutra, akara must happen. But if only akara happens, then the sandhi will not be completed. Then it will be Krishnadhihi. Krishnadhihi will be the result. So, Krishnadhihi will be the answer, the Phalitartha, which will be a anartha. Okay, Krishnadhihi is nothing. It will be an anartha. So, to facilitate this sandhi, a Paribhāṣā Sutram is given, which is Urandraparaha. When an in the place of Rivarna or Livarna should become Rapara. So when the an is replaced in a place of Rivarna or Livarna, then it should be Rapara. Means here in the Krishnadhihi, Akara is there in the Purva. No problem with Akara. But in the Paratra, Rivarna is there. And because in the Rivarna we cannot just put akara, which is guna, an extra rakara must be followed with the guna. Like here we can see Krishna plus Riddhihi. Krishna plus Riddhihi is there. Then here in this particular place only akara will not be there because rikara is also getting replaced. Okay, rikara is also getting replaced. Because of the rikara is also getting replaced, by this Surandrapara Sutra, an extra rakara will follow. So by that what happens? In the akara and in the rikara, when ar happens, it becomes Krishnardhihi. Like this. Okay? Okay, simply you must understand that when an is happening in Rivarna or Lavarna, then not la, this is not actually that la which is in Vyanjan Varna. This is the la where it is considered as Swara Varna. So when an is getting replaced in the place of Rivarna or Luvarna, a ra or la is added extra in that guna. Not here, it is not written as guna, it is written as an. When the an is replaced in the place of Ravarna or Livarna, an extra ra or la is attached to that particular an in order to finish the sandhi. Like in Rivarna we are doing, Krishnarthihi we are doing. So there in the Rivarna, because in the Paratra Rivarna is there and Akara is getting replaced, and because Akara is an an, by this sutra Uran Raparaha, an extra Rakara must happen in there, then Ar will be there as an Adesha, not only A. Like that Krishnarthihi is, happening. Sandhi is happening. So for today, this much is enough. Then in the next class we will discuss from the sutra Iko Guna Vriddhi. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Krishna.